Well, hello, I'm Johnny Rowland, your host of the Shooting Show. We certainly want to welcome you to today's program. You'll notice the t-shirt weather may be about over. For all we know, it's getting to be a pretty day. We were trying to shoot some black powder out here earlier today, and I tell you what, in the rain and things, rain is not the best time to test for black powder, certainly not. Friends, we have a great show for you today. We're going to try and do some things in the shop. We have one of the neatest devices you ever saw we're going to show you in just a little while. We're certainly glad to be with you. Yes, here we are. If you're watching by satellite, for the next few weeks we're going to be on G6 Channel 11, where you're seeing us tonight. At least I hope that's where you're seeing us if you're watching on satellite. You know, we're pretty low on the totem pole as far as the amount of time we buy, so sometimes big companies come in and buy out a complete transponder, and guess who gets shuffled around? Well, it's us. We certainly are glad to have you, and friends, I tell you what, you're watching the Shooting Show, and our mission is to properly describe and talk about and demonstrate the rightful and righteous uses of firearms. That's what we're about. And as we've said before, our whole intent here is to educate more people across America on what gun owners, what the whole situation around owning firearms is. You know, a lot of school children today are not being taught what the Bill of Rights is. They don't even know about the Second Amendment. Some of the school books in the government socialized educational system are even perverting the meaning of the Second Amendment. Now, this is happening right here. You know, today we have over 1 million school children being homeschooled here in the United States. I'll tell you what, friends, it's probably a good move if you can do it, or if you can possibly get your children out of public school and put them in private school, where they have a much better chance at getting a quality education in many regions around the country. Now, certainly we have some good public schools still out there, but let me tell you what, the government is doing its best to take that away from us as fast as they can. You know what? If you have a population that is literally dumbed down, a population who doesn't understand the lessons of history, what you're going to have is people who grow up and can't make decisions. People who assume that the government is God. And that is insane, friends. Yet this is the line that is being continuously fed by people like the Clintonians, people like the liberal Marxist socialists in Washington, D.C., and in some other places around the country. Now, this has to be stopped if we're going to have a United States of America. We're not the United Socialist States of America. We're not USSA. We're the United States of America, where states and individuals still have rights. The reason our country has done so well is because of the rights that were granted to the individual. We're not subjects here. We're citizens. There's a huge difference. Yet we're losing this today. Got a couple of things I want to show you. One of which is this is being put out in a lot of gun shops around the country. This is attention hunters and shooters. Special advance notice. Avoid possible fees and delays in your purchase of sporting firearms. Effective November 30, 1998, nearly all firearms purchasers will need to undergo a national instant criminal background check prior to the purchase of any rifle, shotgun, or handgun. A fee may be charged, and we're hoping that Senator Smith is able to keep that fee reduction in place, or fee deletion in place in the spending bill. We are very hopeful about this. Nobody knows, friends. I tell you what, we have fair warning here about the mess we're in. You want to do something about it? Are you disgusted with sending money to organizations in Washington or some other places that are not doing their job, are not making a difference? Hey, we're losing our gun rights. We're losing. Right now, we're losing. You know, on the Titanic, popular movie that has been all over the country here, hugely successful movie. You know, the band played on until the ship sunk. Ship sunk. The band played all the way, and I tell you what, those were some courageous musicians, nothing against them, but what we have now is we have the band playing nationally. People are just going right along, and we're on the path to destruction of our free America. We are losing our firearms rights, friends, and it's got to be stopped. We still have time to do it. You want to help us? Would you like to help? Well, you certainly can by joining our Gun Owner Rights Association at 327 Irvin Rowland Road in Dublin, Louisiana, zip code 71024. You can do something. Hey, we're on TV. We're on nationwide. And I'll tell you what, we know that members of the government watch this program each week. And listen, friends, I think we should inform them now. You folks from the government, some of you folks in these regulatory agencies that are watching our program, we want to serve notice on you that we as free Americans are not going to let the socialists get away with it. We're not going to do it. We're flatly not. You know, there's me here and a whole bunch of Americans all over this country that feel the same way. And we're going to do something about it. I think we should tell them, you liberal socialists out there watching and listening, we're going to fight. We are not going to roll over. We're not going to give up. We're going to continue this message as long as I have breath, and many of you out there who have joined our GRA, who are in support of this project, we're going to keep on until we have no breath left. If something happens to me, there'll be somebody else, and somebody else, and somebody else. We're not going to let it go. So, you liberal socialists, I hope you brought your lunch, because some of us are going to stand against the people and the forces that want to destroy our country, want to destroy our families, want to destroy our freedom. We're not going to give in. We're not. So, I want to show you something. Got our friend Ed Hubble sent us a picture from Australia. And let's take a closer look at this. The Australian gun grab, you want to see what it looks like in reality? You want to see? Now friends, you see this? This is a drag line. And you see what's in that drag line, in those jaws there, are rifles and shotguns literally being destroyed. Let's look right down here. We've got a pile of them on the ground. This is what the Clintonians, the United Nations people, the New World Order people have in mind for our guns here in the United States. Now this has already happened in Australia. This is a picture, again, from our friend Ed Hubble, and it says the end or just the beginning. I tell you what, if this doesn't send chills up your spine, if you're an American gun owner, I tell you what, it ought to. It says these are the confiscated rabbit guns of law-abiding Australians. Hey, they can't even have rabbit guns. Look at there, friends. Doesn't that make you sick? Friends, I tell you what, it doesn't take many pictures like that to really start your blood boiling if you're a gun owner here in this still great country. You know, it has to be done. These people have got to be stopped. We're being literally inundated with goofy legislation on so many fronts. These representatives in Washington do not need to be, they don't need to be wined and dined. They need to be harassed. 100 calls to senators and congressmen from out in the districts is worth many, many, many more percentage points than 100 calls from some lobbyist in Washington, D.C. This is what's wrong with the largest organization in Washington. They got some lobbyists. They got people that enjoy going to those parties, that enjoy rubbing elbows with important, so-called important people. Well, you know, those important people in Washington have forgotten and lost sight of who the really important people are. And that's us out here in America, the citizens that pay the bills, that make the country work, that do everything that literally makes this country the great things it is. People in Washington, those legislators up there, you realize that's a totally non-productive industry in Washington, D.C. They don't produce anything, any revenue at all. They take it all from the American people. Take everything they get, then they make their own money. You know, something's got to be done, friends. And the way we can do it is to reach more people on television with our message. That's how it can and must be done. Will you please join our GRA? Will you please contribute to help us stay on the air? It is very, very difficult for us to stay on. It is very expensive. Every week it is touch and go. But we've been able to stay here all this time. This is our 8th year of broadcast, as most of you know. Friends, please, will you help the shooting show stay on the air? Will you join our Gun Owner Rights Association? so we can do something, so we can buy more TV time, so we can get people motivated and activated in areas all over this country. You know what, friends? Everyone seems to feel like they're the last ones left. That's not true. There are so many of us. There are millions and millions of us all over this country. But those millions have got to be informed. We can't depend on the organized media. You know what you get's hogwash? Just look what's happening with the Clinton situation in Washington. The man could do about anything because he has the media in the liberals' pocket. It wouldn't matter what the man's done. My goodness, if a conservative had done anything like what Bill Clinton has done, he would be run out of Washington, D.C. or any other town in America on a rail. But oh no, the liberal media is so tightly controlled by the New World Order. You know, today, the United Nations is having ongoing meetings on how to disarm civilians all over the world. You know the sticking point? You know, the last bastion of freedom, the last bastion where people can own guns and be responsible for themselves and lead their own lives is right here. And we're losing it very, very fast. If you don't think the United Nations has made inroads, just go out to Yellowstone Park and look at the front gate. You see that sign that says UN Biosphere Preserved. What in the world? You know, friends, the United Nations Charter, the first head of the United Nations, you know who it was? It was Alger Hiss, a convicted Soviet spy. And there have been people that argued, well, he wasn't guilty. Okay, in the Soviets' own records, the things that have come to light with the opening of the KGB records, there's Alger Hiss, worked for him the whole time, friends, in trying to make us a communist Marxist country. Alger Hiss wrote the charter for the UN. That's what in the world does a man like that have as far as influencing anything about Yellowstone used to be National Park? Think about it, friends. Not only Yellowstone, all over, parks all over this country. Even the Liberty Bell in Pennsylvania, even the Liberty Bell has got a UN it's ridiculous, friends, because the United Nations is not about liberty, it's about slavery. And we don't want it, and we're going to fight it. Will you help us? Will you join us? Will you help us fight this disgraceful organization that so many of our politicians have joined up with? That's what it's all about, friends. Will you join us and help us educate more Americans? The GRA is $50 for an annual membership, $300 for now for a life membership. Whatever you can do, or if you can just make a contribution to this program. Please, friends, if you can, the GRA, care of the Shooting Show, 327 Irvin Rowland Road in Duberly, Louisiana. The zip code is 71024. Help us if you can, if you will. We need it. Well, friends, we do have a great show for you. We have our water bottle set up over there at 200 yards, and we have this great shooting show camber. We have an experimental load here that is looking pretty good so far, and let's start off another shooting show with some long distance services here performed by our Kimber. And let's go on with another shooting show.
Stay tuned for more of the Shootin' Show after these important messages.
The Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station.
with one of these great Kimber. This is our shooting show model, full size, the Johnny Rowlands signature model. Well, you can make those hits out there with a mirror at 100 yards, and when you can make consistent hits on targets out at 200 yards, well, just imagine how easy it would be at 25 yards. Or at defense range. If you'd like to have one of our shooting show Kimbers, be it compact or the full-size model, or if you just want the best 1911 that money can buy at a very good price, the best factory production 1911 semi-automatic pistol ever built by any factory, give us a call here at the program, 318-377-5189, or you can write to us, send an FFL, we can wholesale these guns. Send an FFL to the Shooting Show, 327 Irvin Rowland Road in Doberly, Louisiana. The zip code is 71024. Well, friends, we've come up to the shop, and like I said, we had planned to do a black powder piece, and we're still going to show you some stuff, but we got rained out during our test period. Here we have my old Thompson Center Hawken reproduction, shall we say, and this is a new inline black powder gun. Notice it's in stainless steel and has a fluted barrel there, and these have an entirely different type of ignition. Now I'll show you something else. This, in fact, in this little package here, is Pyrodex, or it's a package of Pyrodex pellets. And instead of loading loose powder like a lot of us are used to in muzzle loaders, pouring the powder down the barrel, these are made for the use with inline ignition systems, such as on the rifle on the right there. And what you do, you insert these pellets down the bore of the inline type ignition systems. Much less messy, much simpler. Now they are harder to set off, so we actually use a different type of cap. This gun uses a musket cap, and we'll take a closer look in just a moment. Now, friends, most of us are used to seeing black powder in cans like this. This is Go-Ex, and what we will do, we'll put it in a flask if we're going hunting in the woods, something like this, in order to carry our black powder. But it is certainly a great sport. It is messy. Well, this is a terrific idea. Of course, we're seeing modernization on a lot of fronts, but this is a little tube full. We took one out of the package of preformed Pyrodex pellets. Now these are 30 grains a piece, and remember that Pyrodex is a match in volume, not in weight, for black powder. And you measure Pyrodex. It's really an amazing invention. It doesn't give quite as much fouling. It does require a magnum percussion cap on Pyrodex. It's a little bit harder to ignite, but it is well worth the trouble if you ask me. Of course, I enjoy both of them. They are messy. All black powder is messy. This is one of the ways, by using these little cylinders here full of pellets. All you have to do is just put them down the bore behind your, or in front of your bullet. In fact, the pellets go in first, bullet goes in second. Something I want to mention to you, a little safety tip here that is very important. A friend of mine came over this week and had an old gun very much like my old Hawken here, and the gun, he had borrowed it from a friend to go black powder deer hunting. And what happened, he didn't know anything about the gun. The friend he had gotten it from said he had never shot it, and the man had it for several years. Well, what I did, I went ahead and the first thing I did was spray some fluid film down the nipple here, and sprayed some down the barrel. I want to be sure that we had some lube. We're going to check it out real good, clean it. And we ran some patches down the barrel. Yes, it showed some rust, so we wanted to kind of clean it up there. Well, of course, in a safe direction, but I ran several caps through the gun, trying to burn that oil out I had just sprayed in it. And again, we proceeded to load the gun. Well, I didn't think much about it. Then we got the gun out here, and of course, using safety glasses, hearing protection, everything, trying to be as safe as we can, we tried to shoot the gun. Well, it wouldn't go off. said, what is this? You know, I thought it was clear. I said, well, maybe it's rusted up. So I took the nipple out here on the old gun and worked with it for a while. It looked like it was clear. Sprayed some oil. Didn't spray any oil then because we had a loaded charge. I did not understand what happened. Well, being very, very careful, I used our little bullet puller device. It's a little screw that goes on the end of the ramrod, and it'll screw into the pure lead you use in these things. So I took the bullet out and tried to get the powder out. And I told him just leave it with me and I would try and clean it up. Well, I took the barrel out of the gun and went to a lot of trouble trying to clean it, wound up washing the powder out, but still there was obviously an obstruction in the bore, and I figured, well, heck, maybe it's rusted up badly. And I said, surely not, surely not. You know, light bulb went off in my head, and surely yes. What had happened was the previous owner, not the man that owned the gun, but the previous owner had loaded it and left it, and it had been actually sitting loaded for years, maybe as much as 5 or 6 years. I ran the bullet puller down, and yes, there was another bullet, here it is, that we had loaded a charge in front of. Thankfully, I had sprayed down here to kill. I guess that killed the charge that was in it, if it was working at all. If the powder was still good, I don't know. But I tell you what, friends, be very careful. Never, I would never, unless I was using a gun for home defense, and some people may, we all may have to at some point, but I would not leave a black powder gun loaded, because if that thing had gone off with those 2 charges in it, I don't know what would have happened. Might have blown the gun up, might have pushed him out the bore, I don't know. It probably would have ruined the gun anyway and might have hurt the shooter. So that's a policy, please. It's okay to leave these things loaded for several days if you're careful while you're hunting, but at the end of your hunting period, whatever, do not leave these things loaded, because thankfully there was no injury that happened. But I'll tell you what, it scared me when I ran that bullet puller down there and pulled this other bullet. I said, oh no, you know. But thankfully nothing happened. So if you get a black powder gun, suggestion, if you buy one at a gun show or you get one from a friend, you don't know anything about the gun, what I would do is either take it to a gunsmith and ask him about seeing if there's an obstruction in the bore, or if you know something about these things, carefully now, run your bullet puller on the tip of your ramrod, run it down there and see if you can screw it into anything, pull it out. Another way, of course, you can tell if there's a bore obstruction by running an oiled patch up and down in the bore. What you want is air to pass freely through the nipple, and that's a way you can tell if there's any obstruction in it. If air passes freely, or heck, you can pour hot water and soap down it. That's a lot of us use that to clean these old things. If the water runs freely and you can move your patch back and forth, well, you probably don't have a bore obstruction. But I tell you, that's something that happened here to me just a few days ago, and it sure does make you think. So anytime you borrow one of these old guns or get one that you don't know much about, well, you need to take every precaution to be as careful as you possibly can. Okay, something we thought we would show you. Now then, let's take a look. When we talk about these pellets here going in this inline gun, let's take a closer look at them. Notice you can get these things in different calibers. These pellets are 30 grains. They also come in 50 grains, but take the end off here, and let's just take one out and look at it. Okay, you'll notice that it has a hole in it. Hole goes all the way through it, and this is so the inline ignition can travel through the pellets and get a clean burn, because these are hard to ignite. And what you do is you make up your charge, a little multiplication here. 3 of these pellets in 30 grains would be a 90 grain charge, 4 would be 120. And some of the inline guns are very strong and can take, as I understand it, up to around 150 grain charges, which would be a little much for our traditional guns. But this is really a neat system, and we hope to have it on next week's program. We're going to do some accuracy tests and see how it works in the inline gun, because this is a great innovation if you ask me. Now then, friends, here is a percussion cap. This goes on the nipple of the black powder guns, and this is what goes on inline guns. This is a musket cap, and you can readily see the difference in size of these two things. the little percussion cap versus the musket cap, these run at about 700 degrees hotter as far as flame, and the Pyrodex pellets need a stronger ignition to ignite them. So this is a musket cap, and these are becoming fairly common. You can find them around the country now. Now friends, here are some of the projectiles used. This is a 50 caliber Prelude maxi ball from Thompson Center, and of course here is the round ball that's shot with a patch. And here's something different. This is a sabot, S-A-B-O-T. Some people call them sabots, but this goes in a 50 caliber gun, and this is a pistol bullet that fits right in the sabot here. And this is a 45 caliber right here, and you put it down on the powder, and you get a lot of advantages of the lighter weight and hollow point pistol bullet running at higher velocity, say, than the conical bullet here. But we'll be trying all this for accuracy, hopefully on next week's program, and show you just how these things work out. Now friends, something else, some of us like to hunt in the rain, or you may be out on a deer stand or wherever, and it starts raining, and you know, black powder doesn't do well with water. Here is a neat idea. These are little plastic caps that go over your capped nipple. You can see they're just little plastic caps. They're called cap guards, and what they do is they seal the bottom of the percussion cap against the nipple. Of course, you'll throw them away after you shoot them, but this is really a good idea because it eliminates moisture on the cap. This could be a real plus if you're out there hunting and you're in an extremely moist environment. Well, friends, I tell you what, these black powder guns are indeed great sport. I tell you, in this, I'm really anxious to see how this inline loader does. We're using these Pyrodex pellets and the musket caps, and certainly using some of the sabot pistol bullets. This gun has adjustable sights. It is made of stainless steel for the most part, and a friend of mine who owns this gun actually put some, looks like skateboard tape on here to make it less slippery. So I'm really curious, just as a lot of you are, and certainly to compare it to our traditional muzzle loader here, and let's just see what kind of velocity, what kind of accuracy the more modern type of gun will get. And like I said, hopefully we'll get to that on the next program, but we showed you a few things here. Hopefully that will be helpful to those of us who do enjoy the great sport of black powder. It's not just, well, just buy the gun, go out and load up and shoot it. You've got to know something. There are all kinds of manuals on shooting black powder and proper care and maintenance of these guns. Realize, even with Pyrodex, they have to be cleaned quickly. You can't just leave them for a couple of days before you clean them, because they will rust literally within hours after being shot. Told somebody the other day, said, you know, those folks that they used to hunt and talk about sitting around the campfire singing, let me tell you what they were doing around the campfire years ago. They would clean their guns. That's what they did. They cleaned their guns after a buffalo hunt or after a hunt of any sort. And so we'll be looking at this, like I said, hopefully on the next program. And because I'm as curious as you are, I don't know what they'll do either. Let's find out.
Stay tuned for more of the Shootin' Show after these important messages.
The Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station.
Friends, here it is. This is the great Georgia Arms 45 DA Colt or double action Colt cartridge. This is the first major improvement on the Colt 45 since 1873. They have this in loaded cowboy ammunition. They're also selling brass, so you can load your own combinations. This cartridge case is absolutely a joy to work with. We're even seeing improved accuracy, we think due to the slightly larger rim on our 45 DA Colt case. You can get a free catalog, or you can order these from Georgia Arms, 1-800-624-6861 for their entire lineup, and please tell them you saw it here on our show. Now friends, of course, the cowboy load is mild but super accurate. And of course, you can take your hand loads up to the limit of what the loading manuals will allow. The great 45 double action Colt cartridge from Georgia Arms. Give them a call today, friends. A free phone call with a free catalog.
And let me remind you that Georgia Arms has the best lineup of consistently accurate and best priced ammunition for your rifle or handgun that's available in the United States today. Give them a call, get that free catalog. As far as hunting seasons are coming up all around the country, if you have a 30-06 or a 7mm Magnum or a 357 SIG or a 454 Casull, they can fix you up. The best ammo at the best prices.
Now friends, here we have a couple of Ruger Red Hawks, a Super Red Hawk on your right, and this is one of the new 45 Colt Red Hawks over here on your left. And you'll notice we have a couple of shells, and yes, these are a couple of our Georgia Arms double action Colt revolver cartridges. And let me show you something that we've been talking about for a while. These guns are just now getting out around the country, and this is a gun that we were just able to borrow for pictures today. We hope to have one soon for testing on our program. Let me show you something. Friends, I want you to take a look at this. This is the ejector star right here on a 44 Magnum Ruger revolver. See, looks like a lot of other ejector stars. Now then, this is the ejector star on the 45 Colt. Look how much bigger it is in comparison to the ejector star on the 44 Magnum. See, that's a huge amount of difference. Now friends, the reason for this is, see, the 45 Colt has a very small rim. Nobody ever envisioned when the 45 Colt was invented to be used in double action revolvers. Heck, there weren't any double action swing out revolvers when it was invented, or certainly they never anticipated it would be used in rifles. And see, with this little bitty rim, Ruger went on and made a much larger ejector to more easily grasp this narrow rim on this cartridge case. And this is exactly why we came up with the 45 double action Colt that has a real rim on it. And of course it works just fine, much better in the double action revolvers and in the Winchester and Marlin rifles. This gives you a much better rim for the ejector star to get hold of. So that's why we did it, because the little bitty rim on the Colt. Of course, Ruger recognized the problem inherent with the old Colt cartridge in double action revolvers. So that's exactly why we went ahead and put a rim on the 45 Colt case, and that's where the 45 double action Colt came from our good friends at Georgia Arms. Of course, you can get all kinds of great revolver, pistol, and rifle ammunition from Georgia Arms. Give them a call today, 1-800-624-6861. They're also selling the brass, so you can load your own 45 Colt loads with the jacketed hollow points or whatever you'd like to put in them. And this is a great cartridge case to work with, because when you resize it in the sizing die, it lets the shell holder get a much better grip on the rim of the case there. It's a lot easier to work with. So something we wanted to show you today, and we hope to have one of these 45 Colt Red Hawks to work with in the near future to do a test on and see how it does. You know, friends, out here in the reloading shop, we'll call this our laboratory actually, because we do a lot of development work, we do a lot of experimental things out here, certainly in conjunction with reloading manuals from as many manufacturers as we can get our hands on. All of us are always looking for the best accuracy possible on whatever gun, whether it's a handgun or a rifle. And many times we'll use the scales, we'll weigh our powder charges, we'll take a special care to be sure that our bullets are correct. We will clean the primer pockets. We'll go to all sorts of lengths, clean our gun barrel to the extreme. We go to all sorts of lengths to ensure that we'll get accuracy levels that we think we should, or certainly improve on accuracy. Well, one of the things that many times is overlooked by a lot of shooters and people that reload is the difference in case length. And we're not talking like half-inch in case length difference. What we're talking about is, realize that every cartridge is like anything else. It is an individual. It is an individual case, and like the rest of other, or like other individual pieces, or whatever, even two guns will come down the assembly line, one right behind the other, and they will shoot slightly different. They'll have slightly different velocities because they're individual pieces of equipment. Well, the cartridge case is an extremely important component. We notice by changing, for example, shooting one brand of cartridge cases in comparison to another brand of cartridge cases with the same powder charge, with the same bullet, many times we will see slightly different points of impact. We'll see different velocities due to the slight, but definitely their manufacturing tolerances, the specifications that will be slightly different. Now then, one of the things that we can do to ensure consistency, because in an accurate cartridge bullet combination, we're looking for consistency. Very, very important. And since these cases, I don't keep a clear record on which cases have been shot several times or 30 times. Normally they go in the same bucket. Many times I'll segregate them as far as brand name, but I won't keep an accurate record on which ones have been shot. We'll realize that every time, especially on the higher velocity type rifle and handgun shells, the cartridge case will grow a little bit. And I realize we use brass for a cartridge case material because it has a lot of properties that are really good for use in guns. And actually on firing, you can take a caliper here and you can actually measure the difference, be it very slight. If it's been shot a number of times, it will be a remarkable difference. In, of course, thousandths of an inch don't seem like that much, but you put several of them together and you start getting a differential in performance. So as the cartridge cases are fired, and I've got cartridge cases here, I got some 45 cases probably been shot 50, 60, 75 times a piece. 357 cases shot 40, 50 times a piece. 44 same drill, because we reuse them and reuse them until they're not usable anymore. So let's take a brief look at what we're talking about in case length.
Now friends, we've got our caliper zeroed here properly as it's supposed to be. Let's measure. We have a 357 Magnum case here, and we're looking at about 1.276 actually. That's what it says on our scale. And measuring the case length, 1.276. All right, let's take another 357 case. It's been shot from a different manufacturer. It's been shot who knows how many times, and we see here it measures 1.28. So there's a difference of around 4 thousandths or so in these case lengths. Now this gets important because that's going to put your crimp on the bullet in a slightly different place. So you're going to have different pressures from one case to the other because they're slightly different in length. And when you're dealing with pressures, say in a 357 Magnum, say 35,000 pounds per square inch pressure, that case length really does start to affect performance.
Well, you may be saying, well, Johnny, what in the world am I going to do about it? I've got cartridge cases that are slightly different in length. Well, there's a company named Forrester that has been in business for a long time that really make quality products, and let me show you one of the neatest things that you can have for your reloading shop.
Now friends, what you're looking at from Forrester Products in Lanark, Illinois, is a case trimmer, and this is in fact a miniature lathe, and we'll see their catalog over here. They have their 60th anniversary from 1938 to 1998. They have a tremendous catalog with all kinds of neat stuff in it. We'll take a look at that in just a moment, but let me show you how this case trimmer works. Now friends, what we have, of course, we have a sliding shaft here, and the cartridge case will go right here, and we have some 45 cases we're going to be working with for demonstration purposes. And what will happen, we have a collet internally. You take the back off here, you have the collet, and you have a number of steps in here that will securely hold a variety of cases. So what we're going to do, we're going to slide this in like so, and just go ahead and screw it down, fasten it firmly in place. And this little piece here is known as a pilot, and this goes in front of the cutter, and you can see these little saw teeth right here. And what will happen, and actually I think the best way to do it is go ahead and center the case, and that's what this does. It centers the case for trimming, and I like to tighten it actually with the pilot there inside the case mouth, so it'll be certain to be centered when I tighten the piece there on the collet. Now we have some adjustments here, so you might say, well, how do we know what or how far we're going to tighten the case down? Well, we will get our proper length and measure it with our caliper, and we have a little Allen screw here that will help us adjust so we can consistently come and get the same length. We won't have to measure each one. Essentially, it'll be much easier to do. We can go ahead and set it, and watch this. We'll just turn it now. You don't require a lot of pressure here. I've already got this one set to the length I want, and you'll just turn it and apply a little pressure this way toward the case, and let's watch it. As I said, friends, it doesn't take, you don't try and hurry this, it only takes a moment, but you'll notice those sharp edges on that cutter that are trimming the brass away. You'll see the little brass particles here. And since I've already got it set, when I come right down, when I trim the case to the length I want, it won't go any further because it is properly set. Now then, my friends, now that we've cut the case to the length we want, we'll just bring it out right here. Bring it out of our collet here. There we go. And then I'm going to get a quick measurement. Yes, indeed, that is just perfect. Absolutely. And now we have our trimmed case.
Stay tuned for more of the Shootin' Show after these important messages.
The Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station.
Now friends, here it is. This is the great 1919 Browning converted to semi-automatic from the good people at NWI. This is your chance to own a real piece of history. They're very collectible. They're also a lot of fun to own and shoot, and very reasonably priced, certainly for what you get. The 1919 Browning is from NWI. That phone number, area 503-429-5001. They also have the ammunition special still going on. 30-06 ammunition, only 18 cents a round, surplus in the belt. So give them a call today. NWI for the great 1919 Browning conversion. Also remember they have the A6 conversion with the shoulder stock and the bipod. But these are tremendous pieces of history, also great shooters. So give them a call today, the 1919 Browning from NWI, area 503-429-5001.
And friends, we want to remind you that NWI has a few of the 50 Browning conversions. These are in very short supply, and who knows how long any of these guns will be available. You can still own one. Give Tim a call out there, area 503-429-5001.
Now then, friends, a lot of us have quite a number of cases that we would like to trim to the proper length so we can get them consistent. And notice I have a cordless screwdriver here. Well, the folks at Forrester have been thoughtful enough to include an attachment to use on a cordless screwdriver or on a drill. So all you have to do is just take the handle off, very simply done, and insert the cordless screwdriver attachment and just let it just put itself right on there. Now then, and you can trim your cases quickly and effortlessly. This is a great idea for a lot of us have quite a number of cases that we would be working. Of course, they make these in a variety of calibers, rifle cartridges and handgun cartridges. I tell you what, this is an almost indispensable tool to have if you're a serious reloader. And now that we have our case trimmed to the proper length, what we're going to do, this is a deburring tool, and Forrester also offers these. And the way this works is you want to remove any edges or sharp edges or burrs that you might have left there after you trim the case. All you have to do is make a couple passes like so. Just put it in the mouth of the case with this end, and then to do the outside of the case you use the other end and gently twist a few times there, and now we have a finished and trimmed and chamfered case. I'll tell you what, friends, I would suggest getting one of the Forrester catalogs because they have so many neat pieces of equipment. Besides these case trimmers, they literally offer all kinds of things from tools to doing maintenance and work on your guns, all sorts of things. They have case length gauges, my goodness, stock maker hand screws, all kinds of neat stuff. A sight mounting fixture and gunsmith tools. Listen, they even make a gizmo where you can make your own percussion caps. And that's something that we've never been able to do in the past. A tremendous catalog. Please give them a call. Their number is area 815-493-6360. Again, the Forrester company there, their catalog. But you ought to get one. Their number is area 815-493-6360. And friends, if we have a lot of cases to do or we have a lot to cut off the cases, we can attach our electric drill here and just watch this. That's it. Isn't that neat? Now let's try another one. That's it. Just perfect.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we hope you're enjoying our program today. You'll recognize my good friend Leroy Scott here. And the judge is taking time out of his busy schedule to come down today. A lot of things on tap today. What, Judge, you had some political races you want to talk about?
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have all of them that I want to talk about. But you can, I don't know how many of you all are on the internet, but if you're on the internet, you can get a lot of information about guns and voting of people and so forth. www.gunowners.org.
That's Gun Owners of America, right?
That's Gun Owners of America.
And they have some really good information on on who's voting and the ratings that some of these folks get?
Well, now let me understand. Let me tell you about this. Gun Owners of America are harsh raters. They don't fool around with it. They don't give people A's just because they voted for you once.
Not like the No Rifle Association. We're talking that they actually give a rating on that.
Well, in the Senate, for example, the Gun Owners of America have nobody that's an A+. They've got 2 A's and no A minuses.
Well, I would imagine our good friend Senator Bob Smith is an A definitely for them in the Senate.
I think that's
one of the A's.
That's probably one of them. Let's see, that's New Hampshire, isn't it?
Yes. Yes, here we go.
Where the devil is New Hampshire? Smith. Smith is the A.
Yes, he is the A.
He's one of the A's.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't have but 2 of them. I don't know who the other one is, and I didn't run through this whole list. Just Enzi, E-N-Z-I from Wyoming, is an A. And that's the 2 top A's in the United States Senate. There are no A pluses, there are no A minuses, there are 10 B's, 16 B minuses. And then the rest of them, there are 30 F's. There are 15 F minuses.
Which would mean an anti-gun leader, am I correct there?
That's right. An F is an anti-gun voter. An F minus is an anti-gun leader, outspoken anti-gun advocate.
Such as Dianne Feinstein, Barbara Boxer, people like that, I would imagine. And
well, as a matter of fact, Barbara Boxer is an F minus, and Feinstein is. Well, I'll have to get
find your deal there. Yes, Dianne Feinstein would be. And friends, these folks, some of these folks are coming up.
Feinstein's an F minus.
F minus. Some of these folks are coming up. Matt Fong, I believe, is Barbara Boxer's opposition in California. And so please, if you're in California, please consider Matt Fong. You've got also Carol Mosley Braun's seat in Illinois is coming up for a vote, and she's getting some stiff competition, I believe, from Fitzgerald. I think so. Please remember Ron Paul in Texas in the House of Representatives. Helen Chenoweth is going to need some support there in Idaho. Some of these folks really, really do need support. Some of these are really tight races. Now, one of the ways you can help, you can join our Gun Owner Rights Association, the GRA, through us here at the Shooting Show. And you can send a $50 annual membership. Life memberships are $300 for now. If you'd like to join us, you can send to the Shooting Show, 327 Irvin Rowland Road in Dubberly, Louisiana. The zip code is 71024. Please, friends, we need your help. We're here today in part because of your contribution. That's how we're here. We've got, not only do we have to stay on the air, we've got to buy more TV time, because that's the only way we're going to expose some of these idiot anti-gun people that have sold so many of us across America a bill of goods. That's how we're going to do it, is get on TV and tell the truth.
I kid you not. Now, this is something that's dead serious. If we don't elect people to Congress who oppose Clinton, you aren't going to have any gun rights at all in the next 2 years. You're not going to have any. You've got military and police departments that are trained now to go by and conduct warrantless searches of your home and confiscate your weapons. Now, this is outrageous. It's simply outrageous. And in most cases, people don't have the money or the finances to do something about it. I would suggest that anybody that has any doubt at all about their representative, get the lowdown, and if you call me, I'll tell you. That's all I can say. If your gun rights are not sufficiently important to you, then you can forget it.
Friends, I want to remind you about the Gage shooting bench for only $149.95 plus shipping. Such a great idea. You can fold it up and put it in the trunk of your car, carry it around with you. It is an excellent piece of equipment, very, very reasonably priced. Give them a call, area 608-586-4486 for the Gage portable shooting bench. And we also want to remind you that Kimber makes an excellent 22 conversion unit. Turn your 45 Kimber, or for that matter, any other 1911 specification government model pistol, into a 22 long rifle. Super accurate, super affordable. This is a great addition. You know, Christmas is coming up. These do not require an FFL. We can send these to you directly. Only $2.99. You can get them from us here at the program, or you can get them through your Kimber dealer. And now, friends, we want to recognize our support group. We have Steadcraft, a custom machine shop in Torrington, Connecticut. Their number is area 860-496-7001. And our friend Dennis Crocker, who's a firearms trainer in South Carolina. You can reach Dennis at area 864-587-8722. We have our friends Dennis and Jeannie Ritchie, custom leather work in Saddlery in Denham Springs, Louisiana. Their number's area 504-667-9225. And Camouflage Technologies, they paint gun stocks. Their number's area 909-674-6488. Our friends at Clark Custom Guns, area 318-949-9884. And Flying Horse Galleries, the folks with the great artwork on the internet. You can reach them at www.flyinghorse.net. And we have our friend Bruce Warren with BC Armory, who works on pistols and revolvers, doing all kinds of custom work. His number is area 616-729-5508. Friends, we have run out of time on today's show. We ask you to remember our radio show on the American Freedom Network. You can find it on SpaceNet 4, channel 19, 5.82 audio. And also our gospel show on Sunday morning. You can find it from 10 to 10:30 Eastern Time on Galaxy 6, channel 5. And remember, our radio show runs from noon to 2 o'clock Eastern Time. We have run out of time. Thank you so much for being with us. Please join our GRA if at all possible. We look forward to seeing you on the next show.